Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Command Encounter. I am your host, Brad, here with a very special guest today. We have Ty, aka Absolute. How you doing, Ty?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Brad?
Excellent. I'm excited to have you on today.
Just glad to be here.
Excellent. All right. So today we will be doing something different. We are doing a Patreon. If you are interested in doing something like this, with each Patreon, we get to pick a deck, and then we go and try to build a deck from scratch and see what we can come up with, and then over time we'll keep adjusting that deck and fixing things and adapting it to the current meta. So we're really excited to do this with you. And your deck that you picked today is
So I picked Goro-Goro and Satoru. I have no idea how to pronounce magic cards.
Sataru, I think. Sataru.
I
Goro-Goro and
think it's Satoru.
Sataru.
Fun from the Fun Grixis commander from the March of the Machines, I believe is what he was from.
Okay.
3/4 Goblin Human, whatever one more creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn deal combat damage to a player. You create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token flying, and it has ability you can pay 1 and a red to give creatures you control haste until end of turn.
Yeah, that's a really cool ability. I really like the idea of a haste enabler in the command zone, especially in these colors. There's a lot of cool things you can do with haste. So yeah, I'm really excited. Obviously, you got the bones of a really nice deck with these colors. Grixis is pretty strong. So really excited to kind of see where we go with this. We've both kind of just added a bunch of cards to this list with some ideas that we each have. And we're kind of going to whittle down. This is a little different than last time. Instead of adding the cards, I thought it'd be better if we kind of whittle them down and then try to get that down to 100 by the end of the video. And we can kind of talk and debate about cards that we feel. And also, if you guys have any ideas on this deck, if it's something you play or you've had an idea of or a card you would like to suggest, 100% put them in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. That way we can help get this deck to be the best possible deck it can be. So it takes a community to build decks, and appreciate any and all help. So I
Yes,
guess.
and
Oh, go ahead.
I do want to say that if since Brad has already done the style the other way, where you're adding cards, and now we're going to be removing cards from this, comment down below and let us know which method do you prefer, so that Brad knows what would be more appealing to his viewers going forward. So if the
Yeah.
viewers like you all talking and coming with cards on the spot, then find that more entertaining. Maybe he'll bring that back. Or if you like this style where we just have a bunch of cards and we're removing them, we'll stick with that as well. So just let him know which style of the video you prefer.
Yeah, let's get into this deck. So Goro-Goro and Satoru. So one blue, one black, and one red, and you already read it. So the goal of this deck, what did you have in mind thinking of this deck? Like, what brought you to this card? Is I want to build a commander around this guy.
So the one thing that really brought my mind is to this deck when I'm going to shout out another channel if you don't mind.
Yeah.
The I was on another server talking to some people. It was over on the Thunder Conductor community Discord channel. TTC over there is great community. If you want to have another community outside of Brad's to go join, the
100%.
Thunder Conductor community is amazing. But we were sitting over there talking, and it was a few of us talking about what would be a fun. I'm a brewer. That's the one thing Brad has definitely learned about me with all my cedh decks. I like to brew decks that people don't normally think of.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see a lot more of those. And that's one thing I bring to my channel is I like bringing different decks that people don't think are going to be cedh viable, and somehow they just do really cool stuff and might not win, but they held their own, or they do win because no one knows what you're doing. And so when I was looking at Goro-Goro, I really wanted to build a Grixis deck, but I didn't want to go the typical route of everyone's going to run Inala or everyone's going to run Rogsai. I wanted to build something that was a little bit different and have a different feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, my idea was ninjas with the deck. Able to cheat in ninjas. They just enter the battlefield. I have to ninjutsu them in. They don't combat damage because no one blocked. Make a 5/5 dragon. that was the original mindset. I thought, oh, Yuriko with red was my original mindset behind the deck. It's definitely changed since then, but that was the initial idea behind it. Was like, what can I do to cheat in creatures after blockers are no longer declared, and be able to deal damage and make a bunch of 5/5 dragons and just try to beat face into the table.
Yeah, and I think that's a very valid strategy right now, considering a lot of the games I'm playing are going an hour and a half, an hour more. In this new meta, we are getting in these circles where you're just going around the table and people are kind of just sitting waiting to do their win, so they're waiting for somebody else to try first so that they can get in a counter battle and then have the next turn to try to go off for their win after a counter battle ensues. So with those games, there's a lot that it comes down to damage too. Like putting people on a clock, I think in this current meta is very viable strategy. This commander screams that if you're getting 5/5 dragons into play very quickly and you're giving them haste and you're hitting with them, that can be scary, especially if you can get into some infinite combat shenanigans. So yeah, this deck definitely screams infinite combat to me as a commander, which I think is exciting.
Yeah, I do agree with you there, and I do want to piggyback on what you're saying about how the meta is. Just when before Nadu and Mana Crypt and Dockside got banned, it was and Jewel Lotus, it was very much got to go fast as possible to win the game. Now that those four cards got banned, it does feel like the meta has slowed down a lot. There are still some fast turbo decks out there, but it's now definitely feels like we're, to quote other people, mid-range hell. There's a lot of really powerful mid-range decks like that are sometimes hard to interact with, or they just are so much value that they're just winning the game mid-range. And if we can not turbo win, but if we can speed the game up with flying 5/5 dragons and just start beating face and getting people's life total really low, then like I said, we're not going to be sitting there for an hour and a half to play one single game of Commander.
Right. It you gotta hurry up your turns if you're taking that much damage,
Yes.
on each go around. So, cool. Well, let's get into it. I guess let's start in the creature section on creatures, and we can kind of go through them. So far, we have 25 creatures, and if you come up with any new ones or things you want to add here, feel free. But let's just kind of start at the top and kind of our strategy that we're kind of putting together here and ideas that we have. So we'll start with this Auton Soldier. It's a 6-drop,
Yes.
so this is definitely a heavy hitter of the deck. And yeah, if you want to kind of read it, and I'll let you
Yeah.
kind of take it from
So
here.
I will say this was not a card that I added. People who know me would like, oh, you added this because it's Doctor Who. I did not add this card.
I saw this and
This is
I saw Doctor Who and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a Doctor Who card. I definitely thought of you for that.
yeah, I am a huge Doctor Who fan, so it's very happy to see this in here. But so yeah, it's a four blue 0/0 artifact creature alien soldier. You may have Auton Soldier enter the battlefield a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it isn't legendary and is an artifact in addition to other types and has Myriad. So that last bit right there is the important thing for this deck that you're going to see a big theme of for a lot of the cards that Brad added to this deck. Myriad.
Yeah, so when we started talking about this deck, Ty went towards the ninjas and he was um, liked, he really likes the ninjas, and I actually there's some ninjas that we'll get to and talk about some more of them as well as we go down, and we're kind of breeding two ideas together. But when I saw Goro-Goro and he mentioned it to me, the first thing I saw in my head was Myriad, and this card is wonderful with Goro-Goro because you can have it enter as a copy of any creature, except it isn't legendary. So Goro-Goro. So now you have a copy of Goro-Goro on the battlefield as the Auton Soldier, which you can then give haste to and immediately attack. And that's going to give you double triggers of all the guys going at each player. You're going to have three triggers, So if those three creatures connect, say they connect, or maybe you just get two or one through, but they're attacking everybody, and it's also going to double trigger 5/5 dragons. So even if you just hit one person, you're getting two 5/5s.
You were getting more than that, Brad.
Oh, okay. Wait, what? You'd get
because Auton will become a copy of Goro-Goro.
Yes.
So that when so let's say you're when that swings, you're gonna make 3 additional copies of the Auton Soldier copy of Goro-Goro. So when one of those, if just one of them hits,
Oh
you're gonna get
yeah.
a trigger for each one of the 4 copies, the
Yep.
original, the 3 copies,
So that's
and
all of them.
Goro-Goro himself.
Oh
So
yeah.
you'll make 5 dragons if just one hits.
So if one hits, you get 5 dragons. I'm obviously not a mathematician. That card's way cooler than I even thought. Yeah, that's a good call out. Because yeah, you'll have 3 copies plus the original one. So that's 4. So you'd have 4 total Goro-Goros to play.
You have your Auton Soldier. That's a copy of Goro-Goro.
Yeah.
And then when it swings, you're swinging at the other 2 players. So you should have total of
4 total Goro-Goros.
Yes, you're correct. Yeah, 4. So
4.
My math is wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
So either way, 4 5/5 dragons. Just if you connect with one person, it's gonna force them to have to block with something. People are playing really important creatures right now. If you're gonna have to block with your Thassa, you're gonna have to block, or Thassia. I meant to say not Thassa Oracle, but you're gonna have to block with your Time if it's untapped. They're not gonna let you get that off, and that is huge. So you get that to happen, and you're talking some craziness. And then for the rest of the game, on top of that, you can just keep attacking with this creature, and it has Myriad, and that's fine too. Like, you just have it after that. But that really big burst off the bat, and then any creature you sneak in after that is going to give you double Goro-Goro triggers, which is really cool.
Yeah. And what's nice is that this is one of the clones that we're not running a lot of clones in the deck. You'll see that, but with this one it is 6 mana. It is a lot, but it gives a lot of value. So you don't even have to copy Goro-Goro. If there is a creature that has a really good enter the battlefield trigger on that someone else is playing, it's not that creature you control. It's just a creature on the battlefield.
Yeah,
so if you're able to copy someone else's creature that has a really good enter the battlefield trigger, I would say Dockside, but Dockside's banned.
Yeah.
But
a bunch of Docksides.
Imagine if Dockside wasn't banned, and you were able to copy a Dockside and then swing. If you give it haste and swing, you're going to make 2 more copies of Dockside.
Yeah,
like that. That's what this is doing for you. You're going to get multiple different triggers off of this if you are able to swing and make Myriad here.
Yeah, so I don't think we have to debate this card. This is probably one of the strongest closers. That's combo closer. Like, this is just really strong card in this deck.
It's going to provide a lot of value for that. Yes, it is 6 mana, and that's the thing that seems to turn away a lot of people in cdh. Is like, you don't want to have a lot of things that are really high costing. But you'll see in this deck, we're not running things that's really going to punish us for running something that's 6 mana. So we should be fine.
Yeah. Next, Bergie. I don't think we need to delve too much into this card. I think it's just a staple. We're in red. We want to be casting things, and Bergie's going to keep giving us that mana back so that we can keep pushing. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on Bergie?
I love Bergie. If you're in red, you run Bergie. Like, I've never seen someone come up with a legitimate argument not to run Bergie if you're in red.
Yeah. So, all right, we don't have to talk about that one too much.
It's just too good.
Cloud of Fairies. So I guess I'll talk about this one a little bit. This is one I came up with, and we can kind of talk about it more. I love the idea of getting Cloud of Fairies down on a turn where you have something that you can pay into extra combats. This allows you to get it down that turn, connect, and then get your 5/5 dragon that ETBs. And then with the untapping of those land, if you're going into a second combat through, let's just say we have Karlach, where it's just a free combat afterwards. Cloud of Fairies is going to let you untap your land to possibly, with Goro-Goro out, you can use that 2 mana to instantly give you haste to your new dragons at the table. So when you go into that next combat, you can swing it with those dragons. So I thought that was, um, yeah, that's my reason for adding Cloud of Fairies. It also goes infinite with like Underworld Breach, obviously Underworld Breach combo with like a Brain Freeze and Underworld Breach and those things when you want to keep untapping your land. Um,
Yeah. My only issue with Cloud of Fairies is you do technically have to have four like uh so you have to have four mana available to you at the point. You have to be able to cast Cloud of Fairies and enter the battlefield, untap two lands, give it haste so you can trigger with Goro-Goro. So you have to pay 2 mana, but then you have to have additional 2 mana because it doesn't untap whenever you just swing with it. Only when it enters.
yeah, and I guess we
So
don't have like a Gaia's Cradle. So
yeah,
I think
so
you've
unless you
convinced me
untap,
that maybe this Cloud of Fairies is a pipe dream. It might not be good enough in this deck
yeah,
because we
like
don't have a Gaia's Cradle, and the lands we have don't really. Not too many of them tap for more than we have a couple that tap for two, but
yeah, like it's a great card. I just don't think this is the right deck for it
yeah,
personally.
we'll move it to considering. Yeah, good call. I agree with you. That definitely. All right, coming next, the Dualcaster Mage. A lot of people
It's
that play red, you put the Dualcaster Mage combo in it
yeah,
because
I love this combo. It's tried and true. Like it if you I mean, it's somewhat on theme with the deck because we're making a bunch of hasty creatures that swing in, and if someone has like, cool, Angel's Graced, neat. I'm also making a bunch of dragons too, neat, yay. I mean, you're only making three, but still, you just guarantee you're gonna make three at that point. But I love Dual Caster Mage. It's such a fantastic combo, and people just it can sort of win out of nowhere.
yeah,
Like people think, oh, they're not going to win next turn, and then you just drop this down and you win the game with the Twin Flame or Multiplication, and you just move on at that point. So,
yeah,
um,
I definitely like it. It does kind of fit in this style as far as infinite a way to go infinite and win. So yeah, that's definitely something that we will have here, and yeah, I mean it's just another win con. So
mhm.
El Tural Survivors. This is for 4 mana, three colors, one red. It's a 0/4 trample Myriad. As long as it's attacking, it gets +X+0, where X is the number of lands the defending player controls. So this is one that I added. It has Myriad, it has trample, two things that we want because we want to hit a player. Now, I will say I'm iffy on this. Will probably need play testing. It's not great turn one. I mean, if you get it down turn one, it probably doesn't matter because you won't have Goro-Goro out. But turn two, if you have this out with Goro-Goro, say you have Goro-Goro on turn one or two, this comes down after. Like what people would have, what, 2 lands? So maybe 2 lands, depending on what seat you're in. 3 lands maybe. So I mean, I guess this needs playtesting because if people's lands aren't enough, then you're really only connecting with maybe one of these, which is still giving you a 5/5. But if it goes late game, I think this card is a rock star. If you go to like
So
turn
in the late game,
six,
this card can do a lot of work because it's not a card that you like. Honestly, this is one of those cards that if I like, let's say I'm on my second, I'm like on my mold of six.
yeah,
If this is in my opening hand, this is probably one of the cards I'm considering putting at the bottom.
probably
Because I don't want it early game.
you
Because unless you have some sort of ritual or something that makes a lot of mana, you have to spend 4 mana to cast it and spend two
two to
mana to
get
give it
up.
haste to utilize it that turn.
Hmm.
Um, because if you just pay 4 mana, it's a 4 mana 0/4 that does nothing to your next turn,
Yes.
and sometimes it doesn't feel great. But if you
So
are,
so the
if an
reason I do like Myriad though is because Myriad. So say you have Goro-Goro out, and I guess this is something we should have talked about for Myriad, and what I was thinking about with Myriad for this deck is if you have this guy out and Goro-Goro out, and he didn't enter that turn, and say you did wait, when you do attack the two new creatures, if they hit, they trigger Goro-Goro. So by
yes,
having Myriad creatures, you are just giving creatures that are already in play, it just gives you 2 extra possibility triggers for Goro-Goro. So like that was one of the things I loved about Myriad with Goro-Goro was
yeah, and I understand that. I think also this is when it comes to different mindset. I look at more so. I would love this just to be I play it and be able to utilize it that turn
Mhm.
instead of playing it and then waiting entire turn cycle where someone might just remove it
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I mean,
or
you want to ideally you want to be casting it, giving it haste,
yeah.
and
So that's what I
swinging.
was like. If I have Goro-Goro out on let's say turn 2, I'm not going to play this on turn 3. Probably not going to play it on turn 4. I want to make sure a
Um,
pod might be 5 or 6 unless I have a ritual.
I'd say you probably would want to. I mean, depending on what you have, though, you'd probably
Yeah, because
do it
there
on
might be
turn
other like
three.
on turn if like if but there might be a hasty creature we might be able to play on turn 3 instead and start getting the ball rolling. Versus this is if we have 4 mana on turn 3, we play it, but we're not really doing anything else. So
Well, I
like I
mean,
said, it
if
depends on what else is in our hand.
I mean, the way the deck, um, with the amount of explosion of mana you can get in this deck, I don't think that not being able to
Yeah, I was like,
get
if you have a
sixes.
ritual,
Yeah,
sure, you
yeah.
definitely will get there.
Rituals will definitely make this a lot easier in the early game. Like you'll be able to attack with this turn 3 consistently with this deck from playtesting
Yeah,
that I've kind of tinkered around with.
yeah. It's I think it's definitely one of the weaker myriad creatures that we have,
Mm-hmm.
but
No, for sure, because you're banking on who has lands, and some people might have 1 or 2, and that changes everything about how good this card is.
this is a segue and to the next creature we're talking about, what makes this creature even will make survivors even better, and that's
Yes.
enduring courage.
So enduring courage is great. So go ahead. This was a card that I didn't know this
Yes.
existed. So go ahead.
Yeah. So this is one of the cycle of enduring creatures. A lot of people have been running like the green one. It gives all your creatures tournament of mana dorks and stuff like that. It's really good. The red one in this deck, I think, is an all star because it's 2 red for a 3/3. It's whenever another creature you control enters, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. But then has the effect that when it dies, if it's a creature returns to the battlefield under its control, it's an enchantment. What I love about this card is since we're already trying to go infinite combat steps or making dragons, sometimes we don't have the ability to give those new dragons we're getting in all those infinite combats haste. With Enduring Courage out, they will gain haste and get an additional +2/+0. So I'll make them 7/5s now flying at you in the air versus just being 5/5s. What's nice about pairing this with the previous card, the Survivors you were just talking about, if we had Enduring Courage out and then the very next turn we play the Eternal Survivors, yes, we're going to have come in, have Trample Myriad and Haste, and get already an additional +2/+0. So if they only have, let's say, two lands on their battlefield, this is still a 4/4 at that point.
Yeah,
And that means
and
much.
it just if it dies, it just becomes an enchantment. Is super powerful too.
Yes.
Like who cares about
So,
the creature?
yes. Yeah, I don't care the fact that it's a 3/3 creature. I mean, 3/3s are great. It's great power and
Yeah,
toughness for a blocker. Like, it's perfectly fine. But the fact that sure, there's a lot of removal spells that are exile based, and that's just neither here nor there. But if it's a great blocker. If someone's swinging a 3/3 at you, you just block and you don't care. It's a free blocker for you.
yeah.
Then you get it back as the enchantment side and you move on. I think this card is going to be an absolute all star because, like I said, when you go to those infinite combat steps and you're just untapping the same creatures that were already attacking, you're making new dragons anyways, but you can't get them haste, like something we'll talk about it later, but like aggravated assault does not give your creatures haste. It just untaps your creatures, they can
keep
attack again.
attacking. Yep.
But Enduring Courage out guarantees that they will gain haste and get additional +2/+0 when the new dragons enter. And so you'll just constantly, every time you activate aggravated assault, you're making more larger and larger dragons and be able to kill the table a lot faster.
Yeah, 100%. I love this card. I think it definitely sticks in our final 100 for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Ginger Brute. A 1-drop hasted 1/1. You can make it not be able to be blocked for another one, or you can just sack it to gain 3 life. I think this definitely goes in the deck, right? You sit on it till you get Goro-Goro out, then you headhunt whoever you want to just hit for 1 to get a 5/5 dragon. I definitely think it needs playtesting. We'll see.
What I love about this is, and we talked about a particular land being run in the deck, and we'll get to the lands later, but lands that top for 2 colorless works wonderful with this in this deck.
Yep.
Because then you don't have to pay you're floating 2, paying 1 to cast it, and then paying 1 to make it unblockable.
Yeah,
unless that creature has haste.
instantly just hit somebody. You get a 5/5 dragon. 5/5 dragon
Yeah,
for 2 mana ain't bad.
no, it's not a bad rate at all.
No, so I like it.
And
We'll
it's also just like and then after that you have it up as a blocker, and you block, pay 2 mana, sacrifice it. You say gain 3 life. It's a food. Cool.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I don't think you ever do that, but if you need to, I guess.
well, it's
Could be
well,
done.
it's because with Gingerbrute, you're only gonna really get the value out of it the first turn it comes out.
Yeah. So I
Um,
honestly, with you saying that, I don't know. I think this is a maybe card because I mean, basically, you're paying 2 for a 5/5 dragon. I guess a
and
two
so
two drop 5/5 dragon isn't bad.
no, and I think that the difference with our decks, and this is what comes down to when we were coming up with different ideas. I felt like Gingerbrute was going to see a lot better play in when I was playing things like ninjas
Yeah, the
with this,
ninjas
because
to
then I could get this out, and a late game or later on in the game, I can just pay 1, make it unblockable,
yeah
swing, and
yeah.
then ninjutsu something else over it. In this deck, we don't really have the ability to bounce it back to our hand to continue to utilize the Gingerbread's ability.
hmm
So I think you're right. It is probably a consideration.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
we do have some ninjas, and we can. I guess while you're talking about it, we can go to the ninja. Let's move
yeah,
this to considering.
yeah. I
I
like it's really good with ninjas. I feel like for this deck, but outside is like it gives us 1 activation, 1 guarantee activation with our commander, and that's kind of pretty much it.
Yeah, so yeah, let's move it to considering. Let's talk about Nashi because I think this is a really
Okay.
cool tech that you came up with for this deck, and I
Yeah,
would
so
love to
Nashi
talk
is
about it.
a 1 black 3/2 rat ninja from Kamigawa's ninjutsu, 3 and a black. But whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library. Until end of turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than its mana cost. What I love about this, and you'll see in our deck, outside if you ignore the sideboard that's on the screen, we are not running as of now. This is one of 2 things in the deck that actually cares about our life total. So we can actually utilize this and still have plenty of life to be able to start casting just get great value from our deck and our opponent's decks. Um, I think Nashi is a great card because people are never going to expect. I was going to spend 4 mana flash this in after they like with Gingerbrute, pay 1, make it unblockable, pay 4 more, flash in it, Ninjutsu and Nashi. I was like, crap, that's annoying to deal with. It is only a 3/2, so it's easily would be killed by kill spells or something like that. But I think this card's great. Able to get 4 cards off of it by just paying some life is so good value,
Yeah,
in my opinion, with this
yeah,
card.
yeah. I definitely think it's worth playing, trying it out, and seeing how often you hit things and what you hit off of people, and how much damage you're taking, and like you could hit something that draws half your deck, right? Or you could hit somebody's Thassa and just pay 2 life, and maybe you have the other half. So there's a lot of cool
Yeah.
things. It gives you a little Atali as an Atali player. I love that. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited to add that to the deck and see how it performs and see
And
what
also
you
gives you a
hit.
5/5 dragon.
Yeah,
You get 4 cards out of it and a 5/5 dragon.
yeah, 100%. And what's nice
That's
is
huge
if you
value.
really need to use a 5/5 dragon you already have in play to ninjutsu and Nashi, because you
Yeah.
can get it through, and maybe damage isn't the important thing in that moment. Then you get to do your thing and pay the life.
So
And
you replace the 5/5 dragon you just got rid of, and you get 4 cards on top of it.
yeah, so it's pretty
Seems
cool.
good.
Yeah, so let's definitely keep that in there. And then let's go to Godo. I don't want to talk about too much. I think Godo's just we're in red. I think Myriad is really powerful. Godo just goes in this deck, and obviously with the artifact, the Helm of the Host, is an infinite combo. So you play Godo, go get Helm of the Host, equip it. We're on a lot of things that explode mana, so you should be able to do this fairly quickly, in this deck. And if you get it, you just
Mhm.
get it, and nobody can stop you. So also, Helm of the Host is never a dead card in this deck. As soon as you go to combat on your turn, you can literally just make a copy of your commander yet again, and now you have 2 copies. So when you attack it, you're gonna get 2 dragons per
Hmm.
person you hit. So
Yeah,
it just exasperates the copying of your commander. So I think it's not a dead card, and it's a 6
I
drop,
agree.
but you know we gotta probably cut a couple 6 drops maybe, but I think it's just too perfect not to be in here. Um,
Yep.
Grim Hireling. This card I think is a powerhouse in this deck. If you're abusing Myriad triggers, hitting 3 players and getting 6 treasures is super powerful, especially when you're playing things like aggravated assault. So I
Hmm.
thought Grim Hireling plus a Myriad creature and whatever dragons you have equals infinite combats. That kills the table. So it's really easy to put together. You have all the black tutors. We pretty much put all the black staple tutors in here. Um, you get one piece of it. You just go for the second piece and you go at it. So you get Grim
Yeah.
Hireling. All of a sudden you're like, okay, 9x search is aggravated assault. Have your commander in play. Boopity boppity boo. You have whatever creatures in play, aggravated assault, pay the 5, and then you can start making the treasures as you hit people. So
Yeah, and what's nice is that you don't even need Myriad for this. If you already have 3 flying dragons and no one has any flying blockers or a way of getting rid of your dragons, you just
yep.
have to each your opponent with 5 damage from 1 dragon each. Make 6 treasures, activate assault, do it again,
Yeah,
do it
and by
again,
the way,
do it again.
and you're eventually gonna also make extra dragons. Every time you do an attack, you will make extra dragons. And the if you're hitting all 3 players, Grim Hireling makes 6, so you'll have that extra treasure. So every 2 hits, you'll have the 2 treasures to activate haste to give all your
Yeah.
creatures haste again. Because aggravated assault doesn't give haste. So as you keep
Mhm.
making more dragons, now all of them keep getting haste, and you kill the table, guaranteed. There's no
Yeah.
ifs, ands,
Yeah.
or buts.
If you have something like Myriad or if those dragons just came in or whatever the case may be, yeah. So it's really good, but also like, and sometimes there might be points in the game where it's just a good value piece to be able to removal spell, able to just pay black, sacrifice X number of triggers just to kill something off the table.
Yeah.
Is never a bad thing for this deck. If
Oh
all
yeah.
else fails, it's a free.
I've
It's just a removal
I
spell.
have used this more times than I can say. Like I've honestly used that probably like 6 times. When I play this in Tivit, and you'll just have like 6 treasures. Sometimes you're just like, you know what, that 3/3 really needs to die, so I'm just gonna
Yeah,
kill it. And it works great. So definitely a staple, I think, in this deck. So I'm really excited about that
I
one.
agree.
Hope of Guinevere. Cool card. It with the commander you can cast it, probably attack with it with haste right away and instantly get a dragon. So this is one where I think this is way better than the I think you drop Ginger Brute for this. Easy peasy.
Mhm.
Like this is just a nice 1 drop. Even if you just get it down on turn 1 and you're not even doing the Goro-Goro stuff with it, like you just get this down turn 1 and you can find out who you need to silence.
Yeah, and then that's the big thing is when I brought this card up was we're not in white. We don't access to silence. We don't get access to Ranger Captain of VOs. So able to have a option to be able to do that still, and if we know, oh, that person's probably going to pop off in the next turn with non-creature spells, whether it be if we think they're going to do Underworld Reach combo, or if we think that they tutored for Thassa's Oracle, we don't want them to do the demonic consultation thing or
Yeah,
whatever the case may
I
be.
mean, even just
Um,
hit somebody on your own turn, sack it immediately because you know they're the only blue player at the table, and you just go for a Thassa's demonic consultation right after combat. I mean,
exactly. So
it's great value, and it's a 1 drop. We need 1 drops.
yeah.
Karlach. I love this card in this deck. Karlach, Fury of Advernus. This is a cool card. Whenever you attack, if it's the first combat phase this turn, untap all attacking creatures. They gain first strike until end of turn. After this phase, there's an additional combat. So, I mean, double combat with this, pumping out extra dragons. I think this is just a great card to kind of just whittle somebody down, put the
Yeah.
ad nos players at risk of not being able to really search their deck, and also can just be a finisher. If you have this out for 2 turns, people are probably not alive, honestly.
Yeah. And what's nice is that Karlach itself doesn't have to attack. It's just whenever you attack, period.
Yep.
So you can play Karlach and then swing with a 5/5 dragon and a bunch of other stuff, get another combat immediately and do it again. So it is a very powerful card. I'm a big fan of this card.
Loyal Apprentice. This is an interesting card. Can come out early, get you a dragon. Um, it's up in the air for me on whether or not to keep it, but I mean, you get a 1/1 dragon, you hit somebody, you get a 5/5 dragon. This is definitely creature combat based deck. You probably will kill people many times without even having to do anything infinite. With the amount of damage you can put out pretty quickly, so
Yeah.
I think it's a great. It gives you a haste to attack with immediately. Plus, it's a 2/1 that you can attack with immediately when you cast it.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing, and people always talk about creatures that have one toughness right now in cedh is Orchestra Master. Someone flashes in, kills this thing before it gets to do anything.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
real feel
definitely
bad,
a possibility.
but I mean we're getting to the point where you can't sit here and say, oh well, it's gonna die to Orchestra Master. Why would I run it? Orchestra Master dies to Orchestra Master.
That's true. We were running
Like
Orcish
so,
Bowmaster, so
yeah. So like it really doesn't matter at this point. Like what? Like yeah, it's a 2/1, but it is
I think
every.
honestly, talking about it, because I originally I didn't have Orcish Bowmaster on this list, and I feel like a crazy person not having it in here. But honestly, with Orcish Bowmaster and things like Polywalk Prodigy, these are 2 drops. I think maybe we do cut the Loyal Apprentice or move it into a sideboard.
I
Because I
I
just
think
think
definitely moving.
Orcish Bowmaster is just better, and so is Polywalk Prodigy. And
I'm fine with moving a sideboard because what is the positive behind it is that if they don't have an Orc Master, every turn you're making a 5/5 dragon. So it's a guaranteed 5/5 dragon every single turn
that's true.
at two
All right,
points.
well, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. And I think 23. We're at 23 creatures. That's kind of where I wanted to be anyway. So I don't even know
Yeah.
if we drop any creatures from this at this point.
Oh, we still
Um,
have more creatures to go through.
yeah, yeah. So we'll pick up pace a little bit. And I mean, we don't have to talk about Orcish Bowmaster. Orcish Bowmaster is Orcish Bowmaster. We don't have to get into
Yeah.
that.
So some
But
of these we're just gonna skip over because
yep,
it's just
I
what they
have
do.
the Eternal. This was one that you wanted to put in, which is I think
Yes.
a brilliant idea. I totally overlooked this card. I didn't even think about it.
It combos with aggravated assault. I mean, it's the main piece that people run with aggravated assault. There was a point when they changed how like main phases worked, where there was like a second main phase and third main phase. They took out post combat main phase, and people were like, oh, Neheb's not going to work anymore for the combo. It still works. They errated the ruling for it, so cards like Neheb will still do the thing.
oh, cool. So you get
But
so basically, as long as you hit with one 5/5 dragon, you get enough to untap and aggravate assault infinitely.
exactly, one 5/5 dragon is all you need, and then you have infinite combat steps.
Yep, that's pretty awesome.
Seems good to
So
me.
yeah,
And if you hit more and you had something that had haste that turn, then you're making 10 red mana, and then you give creatures haste and do the whole thing, make more dragons, give haste to things, and
yeah.
whatever the case may be. So yeah, Neheb is a very powerful card. But we did skip over a card that you added.
Oh
Mana
shoot,
Form Hellkite.
Maniform Hellkite. This is a 4 drop. I think it's just really powerful with the commander. You get this down as a 4/4. If you have 6 mana, you can give it haste immediately and crack somebody for 4. Get a dragon, but more importantly, once it's already been out, or if it's out that turn, anytime you cast a non-creature spell, we're talking. If you just cast a artifact to just get down, or it's instant or sorcery or whatever you're casting, you're gonna get a dragon that has haste, and then you exile on your turn. But if you cast 2, like a Chain of Vapor on somebody, something, or a Psych Rift at something to bounce a creature or something on your turn, you get this dragon immediately, and you can attack with it and kill somebody. Also, if you get in a counter battle, say somebody's attacking you, you can cast like a kill spell at something. You're also going to get this dragon blocker. So maybe you can kill something out of nowhere, where people aren't expecting it, or they won't even attack you because you have this out, and they're just too scared if you have open mana to what would happen if they attack you and you make a dragon. So interesting card, gets you dragon triggers. I think it needs playtesting. We'll see if it sticks. But I think it's a great card in this deck in particular.
It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I definitely agree it's a playtest card because it definitely wants you to be more of a spell slingy style deck to
Yeah.
really benefit from it. But and we
Which,
are planning on running a lot of instant
yeah,
sorceries in the deck
so the
anyway.
big thing
So
that I thought, I guess I'll talk about that a little bit too. The big thing I added to this deck when I was building it was a lot of like Cabal rituals, any ritual to get more mana, Dark Ritual. So as you're in your first main phase with this in play, the idea that I had was Dark Ritual for something. cast a 3-drop. Now you have Maniform Hellkite. Like if that 3-drop was a creature, cool. But if it wasn't, now you just Dark Ritual. You got a 1/1 dragon. Now you Dark Ritual into like a Dismember to kill somebody's creature. Now you have a 3/3 dragon. And all of a sudden, when you move to combat, they both have haste. And now you're making 2 5/5s because what are the odds people are going to block your flying? So like by just casting these little stupid spells like a Pyroblast at Heuristic Study on the beginning of your turn, you're getting a 1/1 dragon that's going to get you a 5/5 dragon. So like I just thought like 1 mana, 2 mana, these like little mana that will get you these dragons that will get you more dragons is just ridiculous. So
Well, I mean, you also mentioned earlier having a combat war that if you were trying to go like, let's say you have this out and you're trying to go for your Thassa's Oracle Demonic Constellation win, and someone starts countering, you counter back, and you get into a counter battle war. Every counter spell you casted at that point is going to make you another dragon. So that if they win the counter war, cool. Now you just have a bunch of dragons. You can start swinging at that point.
yeah, I wish they were really smart when they wrote this card, though. I will say that they said you make an XX where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. So it really does suck that they wrote it that way. So you can't Fierce Guardianship for free. Yeah, you'd Fierce Guardianship for free, put a 3/3 dragon in, then use like a Force of Will for free and get a 5/5 dragon. Like so they were really smart on how they worded that. I'll give them that. But I think it's a perfect card for this deck, and we'll see depending on playtesting and see how it goes. Phoenix Chick, it's another 1/1 haste. If you get Goro-Goro down, it's a 1/1, gets you your dude. But the cool thing I think about this, it's the difference between this and Gingerbrute is whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, I can pay 2 and just bring this back from my graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking. That way, when it hits, it'll be a 2/2, and you'll get a dragon out of it. So I think it's definitely one of those. You can get it out early. But you probably sit on it until Goro-Goro's out, and then you cast it that turn or the next turn. Just sneak it in real quick.
I agree.
I think you need a couple 1-drops in this list to make it.
Oh, I do agree. We can talk about these next, like just mentioned.
Polywog Prodigy. I think it's just really good.
Really good.
Just five dragons keep coming in. You keep evolving it, so it'll be a card draw engine. Professional Facebreaker. If you're Yeah, I mean, it just perfectly fits this deck. Gives you treasures.
Yeah, it's very good. Ragavan is like dashing out. And guess what? It has haste. You deal combat damage. You're making a treasure, and you're making a dragon. Seems really good.
Yep. Simian Spear God. Just ramp. Storm Splitter. This is one that we're up in the air about. Might get cut now that we have like Neheb in here. Maybe if we want to lessen some creatures, but just thought it's really good if you're going to be doing a lot of rituals. This, ritualing at the beginning of your upkeep gives you more 1/4s. You can swing them at people that don't have enough blockers and just get some more 5-drop dragons. The thing I do like about this deck is while it looks like you're doing all this damage to people and like putting people off with this like enormous amount of damage that you can do fairly quickly. In the background, you have things like Thassa's. So while they're looking at one hand over here on your right, you're really trying to set up your Thassa's win while you're trying to get there. So like you're kind of just poking and prodding at the table while, in the background, you're setting up these different, win counts.
We talked about the mass multipliers here in a second. I just want to mention the 10th Street Dodger. Same thing as something like the Phoenix Chick. It's just a 1-drop with haste. You pay 1 extra red. Can't be blocked except has 2 creatures. So it's like a Gingerbrute.
Yeah.
It's all this really is. So it's just another 1-drop that has haste to try to get in as easily as possible. So we don't have to go much into that one.
And that I don't know. Now that we don't have that many like ninjas, I don't know if that one might need to get cut, but we'll see. We'll see how.
We'll see.
All right, the Master Multiplied. You want to talk about this one?
Yeah, so it's another new card, which I loved. I know exactly what episode this is from too. Like that's how much of a fan I am. But it's a 4 red and black 4/3. Time Lord Rogue has Myriad. Says Legend Rule does not apply to creature tokens you control. That part's important. I'll tell you. So I second. Trigger abilities you control can't cause you to sacrifice or exile tokens you control. So that second part, things like Metaform Hellkite, those tokens you're making with the Hellkite will not go away if the Master multiplied it out.
Yes.
They'll stick around. But the big thing about this is that if let's say you use Goro-Goro and you do the Helm of the Host combo with it, and that's you can make as many Goro-Goros as you want at that point. But also with things like Auton Soldier, you have Master Multiply. If you make Auton Soldier, swing with Myriad, let's say it's a copy of Goro-Goro, those extra Goro-Goro triggers that you have from the
Stay
Myriad,
around.
they stick around.
That's nuts. Yeah.
It's absolutely wild. There's so able to do that is going to be really, really helpful.
Yeah, the setup is intense.
A lot.
That's a lot.
It is a
but
lot.
if you ever do it, that's nuts.
Yeah, if you get it off, it's great. But I think what I really like is the fact that Rudder's rule does not apply to creature tokens you control. So if so he himself had Myriad. So you get him out, you give him haste, he swings. It's you make two more 4/3s,
and they
don't go away.
Yeah.
So
him himself is a powerhouse, but then I mean we'll get to it. But the instance that, and this was things that you wanted to add. You really wanted to add things like the dual caster mage combo. I didn't have dual caster mage, but you made some really good points. But now that we're talking about that card, let's talk about things like they're sorceries. That's why.
You're talking about twin flame.
So twin flame and multi duplication, right? Like now, if you have master multiplied in play, you can molten duplication like Goro-Goro itself, and all of a sudden you just have this token of Goro-Goro with haste that you can swing with, maybe get a dragon out of. But now also it's not going away; like it's sticking around. Yeah. So until they kill the master multiplied, like the legend rule doesn't exist for those creatures. So that's really powerful.
And what's nice is like you also have things like corporeal projection, which is a fantastic card since we're now in sorcerers at this point. To pair with the master multiply, you can give a target creature you control Myriad. What's nice if you have something like Nashi out and you give that Myriad.
Yep.
That's 3. If all 3 hit, you're getting 3 cards from each player.
And then you get to pick and choose what you want to cast for free using your life.
Exactly. And then none of the notches go away.
Yeah, and just imagine if you, I mean, I would never think to overload this card, but just imagine at any point if you did get to overload this card with all your dragons getting Myriad. Mm-hmm. That's a game ender for
that will just end the game at that point.
7 mana, end the game. Like if you have 2 3/3 dragons or 2 5/5 dragons, giving just both those Myriad will send 10 damage at everybody at the table, and that's just that, you know.
It's absolutely insane.
So this card is really powerful. The rest of the sorceries are all searches, pretty standard.
Yeah. The one card that we were sort of like sort of up there with Toxic Deluge, I still think it's good because there's gonna be times where you might not be able to get damage in because someone is just popping off with a bunch of just going wide with creatures, like a mono green deck, like something like that. Having Toxic Deluge, they're just like, cool, just kill everything. And especially if they don't have anything larger than 5, you keep all your dragons, you kill everything else, and you're the only one that has creatures left in the battlefield.
Yeah, and then you recasting your commander for 5 isn't too bad.
Yeah, so it's not the end of the world. I think Toxic Deluge is perfectly fine in the deck.
And then, of course, Twin Flame Multiplication combos infinitely with Dual Caster Mage. So if you're not familiar, you cast a copy spell at a creature you have in play, activate 3 more mana to flash in Dual Caster Mage, holding priority. Then once that hits the battlefield, you copy Molten Duplication, target Dual Caster Mage. That trigger happens, a new Dual Caster Mage enters with haste. Then that copies a spell. You choose the Molten Duplication again, and then you can infinitely make 2/2s and attack the table and kill them.
Yep.
So
and for some reason, like if someone does do Angel's Grace, guess what? You also just made like 3 additional dragons as well on top of that will stick around. So
it's also totally you put them to 1, and you hope that you can do something like an Orcish Bowmaster, kill them on their upkeep. Exactly. Okay, I think so. Yeah, let's get into instance artifacts. I think this is where the meat of what we've added is going to get cut, as well as lands. We added over lands. I think we want to be around 28. So
Yeah,
that's
no, I
two
agree with
cards.
you.
So I feel like in this next instance we have like 17-ish cards to cut, which is a lot. So yeah, let's get into it because we're definitely going to be cutting a lot of these instances. So
Yeah.
a braid. What are your thoughts on a braid? It's just a red staple I've put in every deck, and if you don't
Yeah, like
prefer it,
it's between two. It's two cards for me. Like braid is either you run a braid or you run lightning bolt, and we weren't running lightning bolt in this original build. I think a braid is fine because it's one extra mana
yeah.
and you hit an artifact. I think it's fine. Like I said, it
So
sort of
so
runs it.
so for me, it's a braid or dismember. Like, which one would you rather have? Honestly, I
Um,
think one needs to go. Would you
I
rather have the
I
flexibility to kill an artifact, or you think the 5 damage, the -5ing something
I
is?
think because the 5 mana to feel paying for life, you unless you're having Nashi out, you don't really care about your life total that much. So paying for life, but you're paying 1 mana to be able to get something -5/-5. I'm a Jund player from modern days.
Hmm.
Like I love Dismember. And a Brave was in Jund too, but I'm just a bigger fan of Dismember. Able to hit a 5/5 because also it could be the one creature that's like, oh, that's gonna block and kill one of my dragons. No, I want to get my dragon in. If it just came in, I want to get that haste. I give it haste. I want to get
Yeah,
the damage in.
yeah,
Dismember guarantees that for you. So
yeah.
I'm a bigger fan of Dismember personally.
Okay. Brain freeze. This is something that you and I can talk about. So you are not a fan of the brain freeze LED or LED or Underworld Breach LED line
In this deck specifically, yes.
in this
I don't
deck.
think this deck really needs it because your main goals, the main win cons right now are either Deep Face with a bunch of dragons,
Yeah.
Aggravated Assault, Infinite Combats, or Docile Oracle Monocon Station. I don't know, or Dualcaster Mage, Infinite Combats with Infinite Dualcaster Mages.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
understand
don't know
that.
if we need another combo on top of that.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's just you're in the colors and it's the easiest thing to put together. Like you can literally do that and just win the game because we're on Thassa's Oracle. But yeah, I won't fight you on that. I think that it can be very powerful in this deck, but if it's not the way you want to go, let's move it to the
Yeah,
considering.
and we could, and this will be one of those combos that you start playing the deck, you realize I'm just not able to find that win out of nowhere as often.
So that we'd get rid of Entomb as well, probably for that. Yeah.
Well, so okay, that brings us back to we had reanimate in our sorceries thing.
Hmm.
We never really talked about why the reanimate was there because
Oh
I
yeah,
always thought
yeah,
the reason why was entomb, then reanimate your Godo. I thought that was the original reason why you put it in there.
yeah. No, Entomb's great. You can throw Godo in there. You can throw.
But
I
you were
mean,
talking about cutting entomb.
yeah, because you didn't want to do. I mean, it just works with the Underworld Breach lines.
Yeah,
Uh,
But I was like, do we want to keep the entomb
yeah, we can.
in the deck? Still guarantee try to get Godo on the battlefield last month. So
Yeah,
we want to try to win through the Godo line.
yeah.
Um,
Intuition would probably be something we cut then if we're not on the
yeah, I think intuition gets cut, brain freeze gets cut.
brain
And we
freeze.
just go and hit the other two under breach and LED. Um,
Cut
because like I
LED.
say, and
Do we cut Underworld Breach or we leave Underworld Breach just because it's a powerful card in Magic? I just feel like
we can keep it. We can keep it for now.
yeah,
If we
let's just
need
keep
to
it for now.
guarantee cut something, if we
Yeah,
need to cut something, we can consider cutting it. But we can
yeah.
keep it for now.
We definitely
Um,
need to cut at minimum 4 cards from the instance. So,
yeah.
okay, let's get
So
to Cabal.
we have a bunch of
Born Upon the Wind.
we. I am a huge fan of Born Upon the Wind because we are running Thassaur Monocon Station. If we just Born Upon the win and try to win over someone else's win, real good.
Yeah, I also
um,
I do want to say I feel like this is a creature base deck, and we do have Thassa's, but I don't like our commander triggers on attack. So like I don't think Born Upon the Wind for me personally. I guess you could sneak something in there. You can sneak a win on top of something, but
And that was a big thing. It was because we were also when I was originally building this deck list, I was also running Necropotence. you weren't, and Necropotent is born upon a win, we'll just win you the game.
That's true. If we're gonna run
So-
Necropotents, we might as well have Born Upon the Win.
Yeah, and if we decide we want to cut Necropotents, then we can cut Born upon a win at that point.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, let's leave it.
I was just
Cabal
I was like
Ritual.
Born upon a win. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I mean it's a great card. Cabal Ritual. Let's. I think you keep it. I think you need as many rituals as possible.
Rituals are fine.
Chain of Vapor
is a great removal spell.
Do we need it though? I mean, we have black for removal. We do need to remove permanents. We just took out a Braid, which gets rid of artifact. So if you need to bounce somebody's One Ring,
bounce a One Ring, bounce a. If someone decides to run something that's gonna stop us from, like activating aggravated assault.
Yeah, it's just too good.
Things like that.
Calling the Weak. I think Calling the Weak is just super good if you're just making all these tokens. We can sack them.
Yep.
I think that's just good. Getting Necropotents out in turn 1, it's not bad. Cyclonic Rift, just good staple. Dark Ritual, once again.
Turn 1 Necropotents.
Necropotents.
Deadly Relic, Deflecting Spot.
Or Oppo. Did you want to add Oppo into the creatures? I know we had a kind of a quick conversation about it.
I mean, if you're running Dark Rit, I don't see why you wouldn't run Opposition Agent. Because I will admit, whenever I play against someone and they have 1 mana open as a black source, I always fear when I go to fetch.
Yeah, I fear, but it never stops me from doing it. I'm always like,
no, but if they have it and I fetch, I just got punished so hard.
Yeah. Okay, now we're to Deadly Rollick. Now, Deadly Rollick, we have Dismember, we have Deadly Rollick, we have Pyroblast, Red Blast.
Well, so Pyroblast and Red Blast, I don't see as much of removal spells as more so counterspell magic. They can be removal spells, but unless you're hitting specifically like a Rhystic Study.
That's exactly what I look at them as, a Rhystic Study removal.
Yeah, but Deadly Rollick can't hit Rhystic Studies. That's why I don't like consider them like on the same.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do.
It's great. It's a free counter spell or a free kill spell. We could run all the free spells. It's all right.
Yeah, we're running all 3 of the ones that say if you control commander, cast stop any mana cost. We're running each one of them that we could.
Deck wants to have it. So should we get rid of? I feel like we would drop Dismember if we have Deadly Relic. I feel like we drop Dismember.
So okay, if we drop Dismember. Outside, so we have. If we look at our removal spells for creatures specifically, that can hit a creature. So you have Cabal Ritual. I mean, you have Chain of Vapor that can hit a creature. Cyclonic Rift that can technically hit a creature.
Orcish Bowmaster is removal.
Yeah, I'm talking about instant sorceries because creatures are not cutting. I'm just looking at instant sorceries.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying if we're gonna mention them, we have to keep Orcish Bowmaster. That is a removal. It's a flash removal spell. Basically, it kills them.
Yeah. Outside of that, though, because like I said, Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast, a lot of times they're either countering a spell or they're trying to hit like a Rhystic Study off the battlefield.
Yeah.
There a lot of times, unless against like Tivit or something like that, Kinnan, Thrasios, you're not really utilizing these to kill creatures as often. So a lot of times they're just for counterspell magic. Mm-hmm. So if we don't consider those 2, the only role removal spells that we have in the deck are right now Dismember, Deadly Rollick, Cyclonic Rift, Chain of Vapor, Orcish Bowmaster.
Yeah.
So 5.
Okay. So I think if anything at that point, then I think we need to cut stuff. We have 16 cards we have to cut and that need to be out of our instance. And I think we cut Entomb. I think we have Gamble, we have stuff. If we're not doing like mill lines.
We cut Entomb, we cut Reanimate, I think.
Oh, we'll get to Reanimate.
Yeah, we already went through sorceries already.
Yeah, I just think Reanimate's good because once they kill something, they're gonna kill your stuff, and then we're able to just get it back for nothing. But you're right. Let's move it to considering.
I was like, I think just because we need to remove some cards. I think right now because a lot of times you want to do Dark Rit into Entomb, Reanimate, get something back.
But we just also added like an Oppo agent, so yeah, I think getting rid of Reanimate is fine. Fierce Guardianship, Flusterstorm, Force of Will, I'm up on the air about. We only have 20% of.
It was more than we originally had when we were first adding cards to the deck.
Yeah, it's
we
still.
We're at 19. We're up to 20 now.
Yeah, it's 20%. I don't know how I feel about. I mean, I love Force of Will. Obviously, everybody loves Force of Will. I think we have enough probably to pitch it now that we have more counter spells.
I think we do. I think we have enough to pitch it.
Mystical Tutor, it's just good. Gets a tutor. Pyretic Ritual. I feel like we need anything that just gives you explosion of red. We need it. So like if we are gonna cut any of the rituals, I'd say we cut maybe like Calling the Weak.
So I think that the big difference here is what would we rather have? Would you rather have the red mana or the black mana for the tutor for the rituals?
I don't know. We're split because now you have Necropotence.
Well, yes, but like with Calling the Weak, we have to have a creature out as well. So
yeah,
we have to have a creature,
and we have enough like 1-drops, like little diddly dudes. Calling the Weak's also good after like any of these Myriad. The Myriad creatures stick around to the end of your turn, right? They don't just like disappear after combat. Do they?
No, it's at the end of combat.
They leave after combat.
Yeah.
Well, that's not as good. I think we cut Calling the Weak.
Out, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have Bergie out. You just
that's too much of a if. I say we cut Calling the Weak because there's.
I'm fine with Calling the Weak. Yeah, I personally think something like Dark Ritual is gonna be a lot easier to get Necropotence out than Calling the Weak will be.
Yeah, and I mean we don't have too many things that we need to just an explosion of black mana for. Black was really just in this deck for search. So Cabal Rituals also maybe we could take out. I'd rather have more red. This deck's way more red.
And I mean, there will be some enchantments we'll be taking out. So
and like Seething Song just wins. If you play Seething Song, Dualcaster Mage, it literally Seething Song gets you Dualcaster Mage instantly in a like a twin flame or so that just wins the game.
Yeah.
So we
also it's a 3-mana activation of Aggregate Assault as well.
Yeah. Swan Song, like if we were to cut interaction, I think Swan Song's the first one to go. I don't know how much you want to protect yourself as much as.
But yeah, because also it's giving them a 2/2 flying bird, and then it stops us from trying to swing it with our dragons. It's giving them a blocker.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Let's move Swan Song to considering that bird actually affects us big time. That stops us getting a free 5/5.
Yeah.
Tainted Pact, obviously. Vampiric Tutor, obviously. Just search. Yeah. I think 21 is good. For instance, right now we have 12 more cards to cut. Let's go through artifacts. See if there's anything. Arcane Signet, I think, is staple. Cursed Mirror, I think, is good. It gives haste.
I think for what we're trying to do, I think it works really well with the deck.
Yeah, I do. And you can copy anything you have. So like,
or anything anyone else has. It's not just your creatures. Any creature on the battlefield.
Yeah, so you can just steal whatever somebody's got.
Yeah.
So I think that's perfect for this deck, especially with the haste. Grim Monolith. I'm always a fan of big mana fast. I think we need Grim Monolith. We have a lot of 3 mana stuff that we like. Opposition Agent, Neheb on turn 2 because we oppoed early. Mana Form Hellkite. Yeah, I think Karlach. I think we definitely need the big mana. We have a lot of big stuff. Helm of the Host is a Lightning Greaves. Lightning Greaves just guarantees anything we play. We just automatically get to get a 5/5 dragon out. I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Lotus Petal, Lotus Mana Vault. I think you play all the Moxes.
Yeah, all the Moxes come.
Ruby Medallion.
I think Ruby Medallion.
I think it's cuttable.
To cut.
It's cuttable.
Yeah.
It's cuttable.
And I think we cut one of the talismans.
Probably whatever one doesn't have red. So Talisman of Dominance cut.
Yeah. I just think that's a lot of talismans. Like that's a lot. And then do we want to talk about Wishclaw Talisman to possibly cut?
Not a fan.
I've never been a big fan of the card because I don't want it because unless I'm going for the win that turn, I never want to give it to somebody else.
Yeah, I'm fine cutting it. We have a lot of stuff going for us. Aegis Assault's a must. Black Market Connections. What are your thoughts about this one? It's definitely cuttable. I thought easily peasy. You get this out like turn 2, and or Goro like yeah. So you get this out turn 2, and then you get Goro-Goro down turn 3. And at the
So
beginning of your pre-combat main phase on your second turn, you do treasure, draw a card, 3/2, and then you can use 2 mana because you haven't even done anything this turn. You still have all your mana. You just give it haste, and now you have a 3/2 to attack with, and a treasure and a card in hand. It's card draw, but I don't know. Now that we have
so
Necropotence, maybe we drop this. I had this in instead of Necropotence.
so as a casual commander player, Black Market Connection is an all-star.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. Like every time someone plays it, you spend 6 life and you don't care, and you just get all the value in the world. Um, I feel like in this particular deck, yes, you could just make that 3/2, you get a treasure token, you draw a card, which is great. The issue you run into is, yeah, you spent 2 mana to activate and give it that shapeshifter haste, but then that's 2 mana less than you're gonna have for that turn, where you might want to have something else. So you might not always do that every turn, and it's
Yeah,
like,
I think I was more so thinking it's just an extra creature attack because you're probably going to cast something else and give it haste too. So like, because you just get that 3/2 for free, and then whatever you
yeah.
cast, you're probably going to have mana to do something.
I think because we
But
need to find things to cut, I think
yeah,
we can cut.
that's
I
fine.
think that's one. We can cut
It's
that
either
one.
that or Necropotence, and you said you
Yeah,
would
and
like
I'm
to play
more a fan of a
Necropotence.
Necropotence if because I really just like Necropotence Born Upon the Wind into a Thassa's Oracle Wind. It seems really strong.
This Breath of Fury I think is a must in this deck. Um, enchanted creature you control. Basically, you put it on whatever, and then when the enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it. Attach Breath of Fury to a creature you control. If you do, untap all creatures you control after this phase. There's additional combat phase. So this is why we want haste. This is going to allow you to put it on, say you have a 5/5 dragon already in play. Or the creature you cast that turn or whatever, you give haste to or whatever. You attach Breath of Fury to it. When it deals combat damage to a player, you sack that creature. So let's just say you do it to a 5/5 dragon that you hadn't played the previous turn. You attack, and then once that hits somebody, you sack your 5/5 dragon. You probably got whatever trigger gives you an extra 5/5 dragon. So now you have a new 5/5 dragon. You throw Fury onto that next 5/5 dragon that just came into play. You untap all your creatures. There's additional combat. And this is why things are important to like give you treasures. So this is another way like Grim Hireling can make infinite attacks by using Goro-Goro tap 2 ability to keep putting haste on that new dragon that comes in, that Breath of Fury goes on. So Breath of Fury and anything that gives you 2 mana, you can keep attacking with a 5/5 dragon, make a new one, attack somebody, make a new one, and not to mention whatever other creatures you have, you're getting triggers off those as well. So if you're making 3 5/5 dragons, then it's unstoppable.
I think it's cute. I'm not 100% sold on it.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to add as many things that give extra combat because extra combat plus Myriad is going to be nuts.
Yeah, and I do agree the card is very very good for that reason. But then you just have to make sure you have a way of giving all them haste, and I feel like there's a lot of pieces you need for this to really start popping off for you. While some of the other ones, like Aggravated Assault, you need one other card.
Right.
But then with Breath of Fury, you need, let's say you had you need Breath of Fury, Grim Hireling. You would need your commander. You would need like some way of giving them so you can give them haste, and you had to make sure you had something that just came in that turn. Like there's a lot of steps you got to get for Breath of the Fury to really start doing what you're dreaming it does. I think it'll happen once and probably will never happen again.
Yeah, I mean, even though like even just having an extra combat though is just so good in this deck. If you can get double combats with any of these flyers, it's just that. I mean, 2 combats gets you possibly 4 5/5 flyers.
If it wasn't 4 mana, if it was like 3 mana, I'd be a lot like more sold on it.
Yeah,
I
I'll
just
move
think
it.
four
I'll move it
four
to.
mana is a lot.
We'll move it to sideboard. Why did that not work? All right. Determined irritation. The beginning of combat on your turn, populate the token created this way gains haste, sacrifice at the beginning of the next turn. So this is just another way that if you have one dragon, you just get a free extra dragon, and then it gains haste. Immediately hit somebody with that dragon. Now you get an actual 5/5 dragon. So it literally just hits somebody, replaces itself with another dragon before it exiles. I think that's not even a question. That one definitely goes in.
Yeah, that's fine. And it's determined iteration, by the way, not irritation.
Oh,
Iteration.
iteration.
Just for the comments, so they don't they give you too much shit for saying the mispronouncing that one.
Yeah, Dragon Tempest. Whenever a creature with flying enters, it gains haste. This also goes infinite, like with aggravated assault in play and this already in play. Now your new dragons just keep getting haste. And then you're also now just shooting people. You're just shooting people
so
with
it
dragons.
Makes them die a lot faster. Yeah. Like it also can sometimes will kill the creature that you think, oh, that creature's going to block. Well, I'm going to get the dragon out when we go to next combat step. Like I swing at other people, not swinging at that one person yet. Get 1 or 2 dragons. If I already have 3, that's 5 damage I'll be making. Shoot the one creature they're able to block with. Yeah. And I start actually killing the board. So
that card's so powerful.
I think that's one of our better enchantments, personally.
Mass Hysteria. We kind of butted heads on this one. I love it for this deck. You're not as big as a fan. I also understand your concerns with it, like giving everybody else's like mana dorks haste. So just letting green players like pour out their hands really fast is scary. So yeah, I will just leave it up to you. We have 7 cards to cut at this point. For me, I like it for as a turn 1, get it down. Turn 2, get Goro-Goro out. Swing with Goro-Goro, get a 5/5 dragon. Next turn, now you're going to try to get more dragons, and then as long as you have this in play plus aggravated assault, it's just another thing that gives haste to all your creatures. But like Dragon Tempest is really good to do that too. And now we've also added your Enduring Courage, which is different than Dragon Tempest. But for me, it's just it gets down turn 1. Turn 2, you're hitting with Goro-Goro, and you're getting a 5/5 dragon on turn 2, which is just you're gonna start.
Well, I mean, you're hoping you're getting Goro-Goro out on turn 2. You're hoping.
Oh no, you're getting Goro-Goro. I like Goro-Goro on turn 2 is pretty much. There's many games playtesting that I didn't get Goro-Goro out that fast. I mean, at least turn 3, then you're hitting them and getting a 5/5.
So for me, I think it's between Mass Hysteria or Determined Iteration. I think those two are like one of those 2. I think it needs to go personally.
Okay.
So it's whatever you think will give me better value overall.
I think Mass Hysteria gives you better value than Determined Irritation. It does have a kickback, but like most people in cEDH right now, like unless you're playing like a Winota deck, like they're not hurting you. So like at worst, they're attacking you with like some 1/3s and some 2/2s.
Yeah, it wasn't the attacking that was my biggest concern. But you mentioned earlier, it was like the mana dorks, the Birds of Paradises, the Light Halflings, and like that are really good mana dorks that you get out turn 1 and be able to play something else immediately afterwards.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, now that we've dropped the other enchantment that I had here that makes tokens that you could populate, maybe we do drop Determined Irritation.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Because I think that card's it's good. I just don't know if its ceiling is high enough for cEDH right now.
Okay.
And then the last 4 we had was Mystic Remora, Ristic Study. Those are just staples. 100% run those.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about you didn't have Necropotence originally in the deck. So you were running the other one instead.
Yeah, I was just off of it. I didn't really see it as necessary in this deck, though I don't think it's a bad thing in this deck. We have And I guess it's not ad nos, but we have a lot of bigger cost things. I figured you're gonna necropotence for like 10 cards. You'll probably hit some bigger things,
Well,
discard them,
well, we,
and
well,
then
what we can
you're
do is
gonna
we can.
not let your graveyard will not develop too for like Underworld Breach. So
Yeah, so that's the question here. Then at this point is we can cut necropotence and born upon a win and just get rid of like that idea altogether, or we get rid of Underworld Breach because we're not going to fill our graveyard up much because we have necropotence.
and that gets rid of. I already got rid of it. Underworld
So,
Breach is just so good when people stop you doing something and you can just get your combo
yeah, I mean,
back.
to try to re-combo off, I think Underworld Breach is fine. So we can cut necropotence, but if we do, we probably should cut born upon a win as well.
Yeah, I think we cut Necro. I also think we cut Born Upon the Wind just because, and we can move it to considering. Um, a lot of times we're going to be just hitting people, so I don't think Born Upon the Wind, like besides
Yeah,
sneaking out a creature that we want to attack with next turn, but then we're turning off our sneaking out a creature and then hitting somebody with it.
yeah, no,
Okay.
that's fair. All right, and then we're now at
We have
lands.
4 cards we have to cut. We want to get 28. That means cut 2 lands, and then from there we got to cut 2 more cards. So we're almost there, and we're making good time. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on?
So we talked about this in beforehand, and at least for the video, let's go ahead and just we can bring up the conversation again. There was both of us sort of were. I was more high on one card over another, while you're more high on another card.
Yep.
For
So
me, I wasn't as high on City of Traders, only for the fact that Goro-Goro does not care about that the 2 colorless mana from City of Traders. I don't run City of Traders in any of my CDH deck list. That's just a personal choice. I have Ancient Tomb. I don't necessarily think I need City of Traders personally. Um, because I don't like the fact that if I play any other land, City of Traders is just gone. And I don't get a
I would
chance to
love
use it
people
again.
in the comments to give a City of Traders thoughts. If you, because I'm a diehard, I put City of Traders in every deck. I think it's super rampy. It lets you cast a whole bunch of stuff. For me in this deck, like a professional face breaker on turn 2, if you literally have your opening hand of a bunch of trash and then professional face breaker, City of Traders, and like other land, you play other land, maybe tap, play something. Turn 2, City of Traders, and that just gets you professional face breaker. Now you attack with whatever you played turn 1. We have like Phoenix Trick or something, and then you're getting your treasure. Now your next turn, you got Goro-Goro out, play another land, tap the City of Traders response, sack it. Now you have 2 more mana. Like it's that like between 1 and 3, like this deck can really. I mean,
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like Ancient Tomb does the same thing. And if we're not caring about our life total as much, I feel like Ancient Tomb is just the better version because we're not losing
yeah,
one
and
land.
I think having 2 of them just gives you more of a chance to hit one or the
Yeah.
other.
I will
But if you
say
personally do not want to play it,
no,
I will
and
say we can move it to consider.
I think there's a couple of lanes we can probably cut before we even like officially cut that one. I think one of them being Sulphur Springs. I don't think we need the Pain Land in the deck.
Sulphur Springs. Yeah. Yeah, we can drop Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, because we originally had Underground River as well. We switched it out for Undercity Sewers. I just don't think we need Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, we
So
added an
it's
extra fetch land too. I was missing a fetch.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So at this point, it's just trying to find one other lane to cut.
we've cut 4 artifacts, so I think Spire of Industry is gone now.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, because I brought up Cephalid Coliseum as
Yeah,
a possible lane for the deck because
yeah,
it's just nice if you have one extra if you just have that and one blue mana up. No one's gonna go for a Thassa's Oracle win.
yeah.
Like,
My problem is I stopped putting it. I have it in some decks, but I stopped putting it in decks because I'd always end up the moment they won, it would be like tapped, and I was like, damn it, like it came out of
yeah, like
nowhere, and it's like really hard to just leave that land up for an entire game with another land. Like,
sometimes it is, yeah.
yeah, it's like
But
I'm
if
gonna
you're if
not use 2 land the whole game just in case this happens. So,
yeah.
but it's so good when somebody does it and they don't.
Yeah, and the amount of times you lose with Thassa's Oracle is like, man, if I just Cephalid Coliseum right now, we would have been sitting pretty. Um, Because also just the threat of it being out makes it so that people are like they're more wary of when to actually activate the circle. They're not just gonna whimsically just go for the win at that point.
Right. I think so we have 2 more cards to cut. I think this 10 Street Dodger goes.
Okay, so let's look at how many 1-drops do we have right now for creatures wise.
You have 10 Street Dodge, Ragavan.
We have
Phoenix
3
Chick.
if we cut 10 Street Dodger, we have 3.
Hope. Yeah, we have 3. Which I think is fine, because I think turn 1 you would rather get out an artifact, or you're going to just ramp into something else besides a 1-drop.
Yeah, so I'm fine with cutting 10 Street Dodger. That's fine.
And we're not playing as many ninjas, so I just don't think it's...
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Move to considering. All right, one last card. And I will let you choose one last card you'd like to cut for your deck. And
okay.
What is something that we've gone over and you just are iffy about?
If we're keeping City of Traders, it's the same reason why I generally don't run Grim Monolith. Is the exact same reason. So we'll keep that in there because it can just be an explosive turn.
Yeah, I think 28 land. Like, yeah, I think we can't go under 28 land with this deck. We have
I'm saying that if we like, I was talking about like I can't cut Grim Monolith out of the artifacts.
Oh no, I wouldn't cut that.
It's the same reasons for City of Traders as Grim Monolith.
Yeah, it's
just unless I have ways of untapping Grim Monolith easily with Manifold Key or something like that. I generally don't run Grim Monolith, but I understand it's the same reason as City of Traders. It can. You play
it 1 turn, you wait a turn, then you use it, and then you never think about it again. It's like a because like this is gonna help you cast like a freaking Auton Soldier on like turn 3 after you got your commander out turn 2, and obviously you're like bam, and people are like, oh no, and you're like, I'm gonna have 4 dragons per whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, maybe one of these 6-drops. Like, do we need Master Manipulated? I mean, we have 1 6-drop.
So right now we have 3 6-drops in the deck. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think 3 6-drops.
Auton Soldier, Godo, and the Master Multiplied.
I think Karlach's a staple.
Yeah, like we're looking at mana value.
I think you're good at creature. I don't think you cut any more creature. I think 23 is the right amount.
Yeah. If we're looking at what the most in mana wise is, it's 1 and 2 drops. We have 20 1-drops, 22 drops. We have 16 3-drops, 8 4-drops, 3 5-drops, 3 6-drops. That this is accurate. So it's 19 2-drops, 19 1-drop. Okay, I just need to refresh.
I mean, do we just cut Mass Hysteria because you don't like it? I'm fine with it. I just like it as a turn 1. Our haste will out haste yours because we will just beat your face in. That's what I like about it.
So I'm sort of tied between either Mass Hysteria or one other thing that I want to hear your opinion on.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped doing this as much because sometimes redundancy is great, sometimes redundancy is a little too much. I don't run Pyroblast and REB in the same deck anymore. I generally just run one or the other.
That's fine. Yeah, we can cut one of those.
Because like it's sort of redundancy and they sort of do the exact same thing, and sometimes it's just like if I have both in my hand, I'm just like meh. I'd rather have something else where I can actually do something.
Alright, so we cut Pyroblast, leave red elemental so nobody can deflecting swat it to itself.
Deflecting swat, what now?
Well, so Pyroblast, you can deflecting swap Pyroblast at you can deflecting swap a Pyroblast to deflecting swap to like counter a spell basically. but you can't with red elemental blast because red elemental blast says counter target blue spell or destroy target blue spell. So it can't be red. Like if you're gonna keep one of them, I think you always keep red elemental blast.
Oh yeah, because the rule behind Pyroblast is it can target any spell.
It can target any spell, but it only counters it if it is blue.
Yeah, if checks. Yeah, so Pyroblast gets cut then. Red elemental blast is just better. I'm not the biggest fan of redundancy. Sometimes, like sometimes certain things are great for redundancy. Sometimes, like that specific redundancy, I don't know if we necessarily need.
Okay. No, that's fine.
And we talked about earlier about possibly cutting an instant anyway, so it's sort of just worked out that
way.
That's just
well, let's go take some. Let's go look at all right. So so we even raised 21. So force is fine. 50% of the deck is red. It's mostly a red deck. With support coming from counter spells in blue, searching from black, and then a lot of the ramp and things like that. Yeah. Average mana in the deck, 1.68. That's actually really good. We have 3 6-drops. I think that's great. And then go ahead.
Do you want to hear something funny?
Yes.
I scroll down because I have it on my screen as well for my first opening hand with this deck.
Yeah.
I had 3 lands, Mox Diamond, Bannervolt, Soul Ring, Pyretic Ritual. All mana.
Oh man.
Nothing else to do with it, but all mana. I would on turn 1, I would guarantee have what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 available mana to me on after turn 1.
That's hilarious.
Nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Can you cast your commander?
The next turn, technically, because I have Pyretic Ritual.
Well, wait, could you cast your commander and give it haste in the same turn? Probably, if you have that much mana. You get a 5/5 dragon instantly. So, I mean, that's pretty good. All right, we're going to do our first hand on here. And then I'm going to let you, let's work it through it and see what we do. So, let's deal our first hand, see if first 7. No, Mullen. Second 7. Okay, so we got the Command Tower Soul Ring.
So this is interesting, right? Because you can go Commander Soul Ring. We don't know what our first draw would be, but as of now with this hand, we have Demonic Molestation and Tainted Pact in our
That's nuts. So you can just Tainted Pact for Thassa's.
At that point, yeah.
Or just Tainted Pact to see what the next... I mean, honestly, I think you might turn to a Tainted Pact just to see till you hit something like another rock or even a land, or I mean, you might even do that, but you'd also get down the Loyal Apprentice. And,
you can Loyal Apprentice turn 1, turn 2, and then hope to draw on some lands so that you can try to get Goro-Goro as fast as possible. But I still think this is a mulligan. I just don't think
I think you mulligan too, because like Unruled Breach is a dead card.
Yeah,
Fierce Guardianship is a dead card till you get your commander.
I mean, you can always just leave the Command Tower and Soul Ring up for Fierce Guardianship and just not do anything on your turn 2 and just have a counter magic spell up, but that just feels really bad.
All right, we'll go to 6. Well, you don't see that every day.
That's a lot of land.
28 land, that's all land. Yep, you don't take this.
On a mult. Well, so on a mult of 5, because you'll probably put the Undercity Sewers back. You'll probably put the Steam Vents back.
Well, this is 6 right here.
Oh, this is 6?
Yeah, this is 6.
Yeah, you'll put Undercity Sewers back, and that's it because you can get it back later with the fetch line. Yeah, this is a mult. So we get a 5.
We got a 5. Perfect. I'll take this. Yeah. All right. So turn 1, Mount Doom. Let's draw. This is a snap keep. On the bottom, I think
I would put back Mindbreak Trap, Deadly Relic. That would be my 2 that I would choose. Mindbreak Trap and Deadly Relic.
I would probably do Grim Hireling and Deadly Relic and hope we get something going for us. Or even maybe hope... I think actually you do Hope of Gearper.
Well, so here's my thing on this, right? And this was just something that was in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing what our next draw was. You Mount Doom into Rite of Flame. Use the 2 Rite of Flame. You dash in Ragavan. Get the treasure token. Play Hope of Gearper. So you still get the Hope Giver out, but you also possibly.
Yeah, I don't. But I think you have to keep the treasure token to like for whatever you might draw. Personally, I wouldn't dash in Ragavan. I just put it out because.
Well, okay. Well, okay. So as right now, you were saying Deadly Raw like Grim Hireling and the two you put back.
Yeah. So I would actually do Girapur because we have Ragavan already. We have our 1-drop. We don't need. I don't think we need Hope Girapur at this point.
So what do you do? Deadly Raw like Hope Girapur?
Yeah, I'd probably do these two, and then turn 1 you turn 1 cast Ragavan.
Well, let's draw a card and see what our first draw would be.
Draw. Hey. So
okay. So here's your thing, right?
So now I go Mount Doom, Rhino Flame, Mass Hysteria, Ragavan, swing of the Ragavan, get your treasure.
And you didn't dash it out, so
didn't dash it out. Good. So you keep it in play. Then you go to your next turn. So now you have Mount Doom, treasure, Ragavan, Mass Hysteria, draw a card. Yeah, it sucks. It's a chain of
yeah. Well, you're not sure what you're getting off Ragavan, right? So like if you saw a mana rock that was 1-drop or something like that, then you can use that treasure.
I always assume it's a land when I play this.
Fair.
Yeah, so I guess that's fine. So now we attack with Ragavan again, get a second treasure. Now we at least have our commander on this turn. Unfortunately, we already attacked, but now you have 3 mana, you have 2 treasures, Mount Doom.
Well, after you use it, you would be down to 1 just Mount Doom. You've used all your treasures.
No, 100%. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not great. I mean, we could hold out for Grim Hireling next turn, and just sit on this Mindbreak Trap, knowing that somebody that tries to combo off will at least stop me.
We won't be able to see Grim. Yeah.
So I think maybe you just sit. You keep your two treasures in your Mount Doom. You go to your next turn. So now you crack all your treasures, Grim Hireling. I mean, if somebody has a blocker, you don't do any of this at this point.
At this point, there's probably going to be at least 1 or 2 blockers in the battlefield. Ragavan's not getting any more.
So Ragavan's probably not killing anything. And you just cast... Yeah, that's why you just cast your commander. Yeah, it has haste. It has haste. You at least swing at somebody. Yeah, no, this fell apart really fast. But we also had like really shitty hands. So let's go to a new 7.
We didn't draw another land.
So. Deal another hand. We're going to go to a new 7.
Okay. Nope.
Interesting. Why? All right, we're in a new 7. This game hates us. There we go. This is a real hand. All right.
And this is the second 7, so this is 100% a keep.
Yeah. So, Marsh Flats. Well, let's draw. Storm Splitter, sweet. Let's try this out. Marsh Flats, crack it, search for underground. I think you actually, underground.
Okay, so here's the question.
No,
what is our turn 1 play? Are we Vampiric Tutoring or are we Ragavan turn 1?
I think you just drop Ragavan turn 1 for ramp.
So you can just play the Steam Vents and play Ragavan. Or you play the Marsh Flats.
I'm just such a bigger fan of getting this out.
Yeah, so you would want Badlands at that point.
Turn 1,
for Badlands.
Yeah, you'd get Badlands. That way you have black and red. You cast Ragavan protected off this mental misstep.
Yep.
You go to your next turn. Gamble. You play your Steam Vents, take 2. Now, we attack with Ragavan first to see what we get. So let's swing Ragavan.
Yeah, treasure. We'll have 3 mana at that point.
We have 3 mana. Now we decide, do we want our commander down right away, or do we want to save our treasure, Polywog Prodigy, vamp on the end of the next person's turn? So next turn when our commander comes down, it evolves Polywog Prodigy.
So we can either do that, or we hold up the mana to play Flash and Ogre's Bowmaster.
Yeah, or you can do that.
And have Vamp. So I think, so I think we have a lot more options with this.
Yeah.
We have like 3 different game plans we can sort of go for.
What's nice though is what I'm thinking. Well, it doesn't matter. It's thinking like if we could just get our commander out, Storm Splitter, then we can cast Vamp Tutor once Storm Splitter's out, it would give us 2 storm splitters to go ahead and attack with to trigger our commander twice, plus itself.
At that point, I would rather have Polywar Prodigy out by that point.
Yeah.
Because then you'll just get one of
it all
two
depends.
evolves off
If
of
we
it.
have a bunch of drawing engines at
Yeah.
the table, you play Orcish here. I'd say you just play Polywog,
Yeah.
Vamp Tutor at
I
the
agree.
end of somebody's turn, put something on top. Go into your next turn, draw that something. I don't know what you grabbed, but yeah. What is like your go-to grab off of like a tutor?
Like a turn 1 or turn 2 Vampire Tutor. Well, based off this hand with the
I don't know what you grab. You just grab ramp. I mean, I think you just grab a soul ring. I think you just grab a soul ring, honestly.
Yeah, it might just be a soul ring.
I think you just get a soul ring.
Or soul ring, or
play
like a
soul
Mox
ring.
Amber.
Play soul ring.
Or Mox Amber.
Yeah, Mox Amber because you're going to cast your commander anyway. So yeah, grab Mox Amber, put it on top.
If you're Ragavan, Mox Amber taps for red anyway, so if you...
Oh yeah, so you just play Mox Amber, taps for red.
Yeah, so this way you play Marsh Flats, you go get your Badlands, play Ragavan. Turn 2, you play with Ragavan, you get your Treasure Token.
I mean, at that point, if you're getting a Mox Amber, just grab a land and put it on top, right? Like, what's a good land we could just grab? Just grab Ancient Tomb. Gives you 2.
Well, I was saying just because right now the colors doesn't really matter for the hand that we have right now. What you really want is like maybe it might get your Storm Splitter out a little bit faster.
Yeah,
but...
I was thinking Storm Splitter could get out. Then you could gamble or Cabal Ritual. We could always Cabal Ritual here. We don't really get 3 black.
Well, it depends if we have Orcish Bowmaster already out, we can just sack the token. So like there's a lot of variables about like
how there's so many variables. Yeah, but
all right,
the key is I think you get your commander down. Yeah, let's do one more. All right, let's actually play test this one. All right. I don't know how to make this any bigger. Maybe play test isn't the best way to do this. It's not a bad hand.
Yeah, because we're also gonna be fetching, so some of these card draws weren't gonna really come up anyways, because we were gonna fetch anyways. So
that's true. It did a whole new game. Hold on, let me back out of that. All right, let's just do the hands because they're way bigger. All right. As much as I'd love to keep this, I want to play test and deal a new hand. All right, dealing a new hand. First 7. Yeah, turn 1 fish. You keep it.
So, I mean, you're
gonna get Loyal Apprentice. You're gonna get a Cabal Ritual 3.
Because you can use the token, the SLAPS token off of the Loyal Apprentice to do the Cabal Ritual. To get your 3 black mana. That's
Cabal Ritual just gives you 3. It just gives you 3. We dropped that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you keep this. You go turn 1, cast your fish. I mean, it's turn 1 fish, depending on what seat you're in, whatever. Let's say you draw. I'll roll a dice. I'll roll a dice.
Turn 1 fish and countered mine. Yeah, sure.
1 and 2 will be 0 cards drawn. 3 and 4 will be 1 card, and 5 and 6 will be 2 cards drawn. Ah, we get 2 cards. So we draw 2.
Okay.
Well, we draw for turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got a Grim Hireling. So we are fucking.
So how does it? Go to playtest. Go to playtest.
Playtest.
Because we're gonna fetch, right?
Yeah.
Because we need the blue mana.
All right. So fetch. What's the land? Search.
At this point, based on what's in our hand, grab Volcanic Island.
So we've cracked that. Got Volcanic Island. I want this to go away.
You click close and shuffle, and then in the middle of your screen. Oh, definitely close and shuffle, but that's fine. I don't know what it's there for. There you go. All right.
So this is in the graveyard.
Yep. And now you play your fish.
Play fish.
Hopefully they get countered by mental misstep. And then you said we draw 2 cards, so go ahead and.
So 1, 2. Oh, we got a little Phoenix chick and Tainted Pact. Okay, we go into next turn.
Yep.
I think we just let the fish die.
At this point, yeah, we got the value off indeed. Like, we're fine.
Let the fish die. We'll go ahead and fetch.
So my question at this point is, and you can tell me if you agree with this or not. You still, of course, fetch. We play Cabal Ritual into the Mana Vault, and we get both our talismans out. Our talisman and our Mana Vault out right now.
I think you get Grim Hireling out.
We can't.
Why not?
I mean, theoretically we could, but then we just.
Well, you can get Grim Hireling and a talisman out here. So you go fetch Underground Sea, I think you get here, right?
Yeah, this point, yeah, Underground Sea.
So you get Underground Sea. You tap 1, 2. You make 3 black. You use one of it for this. So now you're at 2 black. You tap this for 3 and 1 black.
So now you can't get the talisman after you have 1 colorless floating left. That's what I was saying. Instead of doing the Grim Hireling and all that,
so you get 3 black. You use 2 of it for this.
2 of that for that, and 1 for the Mana Vault. Mana Vault's still untapped. 2 for this. 1 for that. So on your next turn,
1 for Mana Vault. This taps for. Oh wait, this taps for red or black. So what?
So now you can get Hireling out technically, because you pay the 2 Cabal Ritual, flow 3 black. You use 1 black for the Mana Vault, 2 black for the Talisman. You tap the Talisman and the Mana Vault to play Grim Hireling.
There you go. Cool. So you get Grim Hireling. Then you go to your next turn. So that's turn 2. That's a pretty solid turn 2. You go to your next turn. You play this land. This is tapped.
Yep.
Then
now you want to make sure you have at least one red floating, but go ahead and 1 red mana available to you.
3. You're gonna go ahead and cast your commander.
Now play the chick.
You're gonna tap 1 for the chick. Too bad we didn't have an extra one. That would have been dope to get Loyal Apprentice out. Start doing that.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because that has haste. So this has flying haste. This has already been in. This can't attack yet. Let's just say we can only get. I don't want to just be like, oh, we get Grim Hireling in 2. Let's just say we can only get the chicken for 1. So you get the chicken for 1. You get a token.
We make a 5/5 dragon and get 2 treasure dragons.
5/5 dragon. 2 treasures. So we have 2 treasures.
Yep.
Then we don't cast that because don't need it. Then we have this Tainted Pact in case somebody tries to win. Going into our next turn. So we'll go next turn.
Okay.
Get mana.
So it is, but right now we can go for the win.
Oh, because we can just Tainted Pact for aggravated assault.
Yeah, and then you still have 5 mana, and you have
these 2 treasures. Yep. So we have the dragon. So as a turn 4 win attempt, we'll go ahead and tap 1, 2. No, 2. And we will Tainted Pact.
Yep. So you just go into hit aggravated assault.
So we go. Oh boy. It's always at the end, eh?
That's my thing.
Aggravated assault. We get aggravated assault to our hand. We'll do 1, 2, 3 for aggravated assault.
And then now all you got to do is connect with your 2 flyers. You make 4 treasure dragons. You already have 2. That's 6.
Yep. So then we'll swing 1 dragon over here, 1 phoenix over here. And what we could have also done is we have 2 treasures. We could just say screw it and play this Loyal Apprentice. Crack our 2 treasures, and we're going to get a flying 1/1, which will give us 3 flying creatures to go at all 3 players.
Yeah, and it gives you additional dragon.
So it gives us 3 dragons every time. So yeah, let's tap out all these tokens. Go all in.
Yep. So you make a thought. You get a thopter. Don't get your thopter.
So you get a Thopter with haste.
Yeah, because if you're somehow able to get 4 creatures to connect, you make 8 treasure tokens. We definitely win because then you can.
You can't.
Pay
It's
5.
only per. So each creature only makes one. It's
Right,
per
right.
player. So the most you can do
Yeah.
is 6. So we
Yeah.
send
So
player 1 gets a 1/1 flyer. Player 2 gets.
just send your
Well, let's just say that
um.
somebody has a flying blocker or something. We send a 2/1 and a 1/1 at them, so get through 1 attack. Then a 5/5 at somebody that can't block flying, and then you swing your Phoenix chick at somebody else that can't, and then you just leave like that.
So the reason why I was saying keep up the loyal apprentice because you're going to additional combat, you're making more thopters. It's so if you don't want your
At the
thopter,
beginning
your
of
loyal apprentice will
combat on
die.
your turn, it makes a new Thopter every combat. Oh yeah, because it's a new combat. Oh,
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, so you leave that back. So either way,
yeah.
so you get.
So
Well,
let's say no
this.
one had any let's say
Yeah,
no one has any flying blockers.
yeah. Then you do
You
this. If they do, then you don't do this at all. You just keep your 2 treasures, and say I'll
yeah.
save this in case, or for my 2, I'll get 4 treasures. I need a 5th one here. So I'd say to play it safe, you don't play that guy. You just swing 2
Yeah.
flyers. You get your 4 treasures. You go to 6 treasures. You go to 1 treasure. Go to extra combat. These untap. And then you just keep poking people for. Don't you need 1 more to get through? Well, you need 1 more to get through.
Yeah, so I think you have to play loyal apprentice.
You have to play. You have to be greedy and play loyal
because you're making a thopter, a new thopter coming in
every
that has
combat.
haste every combat, but also that means it's more dragons. And because right now, let's say, okay, you make your thopter, right?
Yeah.
If your thopter, your dragon, and your chick, let's say have no flying blockers, they all get in. You're making 6, so you're now up to. You had 2. It's like you're up to 8.
It doesn't matter. You're
8.
infinitely. Yeah, I mean, it's infinite combats. I mean, you win.
Well, no, that's not what I'm talking about. So yeah, you use 5 of it for you're also making at least 1 dragon off of that because a new the Thopter is a brand new creature that just enters the battlefield that dealt combat damage. You make a dragon, use 5 treasure tokens to activate yourself. You have 3 treasure tokens left. You use 2 of it to give the new dragon haste. So you're down to 1 treasure token, but now you're having multiple dragons now having haste when they come in, and you're making 6 every time. So you'll eventually be able to make enough to be able to start swinging.
So
everyone
honestly, what we could have done is played it safe and kept the 2 treasures, because aggravated assault gives you an additional combat phase, like you were talking about. Then we could have cast it on the next one. The next phase.
No, you immediately go into your next combat. You don't have a chance to really cast.
It says there's an additional main phase followed by an additional combat phase.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Is that what this is?
Yeah, so there's an additional main phase followed by an additional combat phase. So you activate this, you attack, go to your next main phase.
Oh, if it's a main phase, so you go to your next main phase, do that, and then activate aggravated assault.
Then cast this guy on your next one. Then it doesn't matter. Either way, you get there. But yeah, this is a turn 4 win. I mean, turn 4 win. That's all you can ask for. I mean,
yeah, no, that sounds.
The deck works. The deck works. That's what matters. That's pretty cool to see.
And it was all through a tainted pact. I mean, we already had the Grim Higher, we just take the pact to go find the win.
Mystic Remore gets you there, I guess. It's the theme of the story.
Yeah, as long as someone doesn't mental misstep it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. Well, let's I guess we'll wrap up. I think the deck looks great. Excited to see you play test it. Yeah, excited to once you get it together, we can get it on the channel and play some games with it.
Yeah, it might be a bit far you get a chance to do that, but I'm excited to try this out. Like it seems like a very fun deck. It's much more my style, where it's not. There's a lot. I like the mid-range style, but I'm doing something that most people aren't thinking of, and especially when outside of you, when I first played, people are like, "Wait, what just happened? How did you win?"
Yeah, that's when I built Jolly Balloon Man. That's was the fun part about it, right? Is people being like, wait, what? Like you whatted that? That land turned into a creature that kept on tapping for some reason, and at sorcery speed you infinitely made like what? So yeah,
Yeah,
this will
no,
be great, and this will come out of nowhere. People will be like, "Wait, what just happened? Why do you keep making 5/5s?"
yeah,
Go ahead.
that's yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is successful deck. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. It's always fun getting to hang out with you and talking Magic. And this was really fun to build this. And I never would have thought to even build this as a commander. And now that you brought it to my attention, like I love the idea of this. This will be really cool and put a lot of pressure on people's life totals, and I'm really excited to see how it works once it gets up and going.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking a color combination of what people assume is what it always does in cedh, and we're turning it on its head, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, once again, everybody, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for joining us. Ty, do you have any last things, any remarks you want to say before we sign off?
I'll say if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that notify bell so you never miss out on content here. Because Brad makes amazing content. You guys will not be disappointed in the content he brings to the channel. So definitely go, if you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And make sure you go check out Ty's channel as well. I'll have it linked below. I know he just started, so there's one game up. It was a fun game. I was part of it. So go check out that crazy wild game. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Also, there's a Patreon. If you are interested in doing something like this, join the Patreon and you can come on and we'll build your deck together as well. If there's a crazy cool commander you've been thinking about, I always am down to brew and talk out things, and I'm definitely not right with anything in Magic. So it's fun to debate and talk about what cards you really like and why you really like them, and see change people's minds. Like we had a lot of cards that I never would have thought about putting, like Hope of Gearpers in here, and I never would have thought about that card in this deck, and I think it fits perfectly. So thank you so much for bringing that up. I think that's a really good card for this deck. But yeah, so yep, like, subscribe, and we will catch you on the next time. Thank you so much.